Man, I am excited today. I am so lucky. You guys are lucky too. This is Bold, Brash, Outspoken. I am with Trevor Copers of Lux Butler, and we are going to announce some big stuff, some really cool stuff. If you've ever watched me, know me, seen me, talked to me, heard of me, you know one thing. I love watches. Now, I'm not a watch snob. I have watches everywhere from $100 to tens of thousands of dollars. I love watches for what they mean, what they say, and the time that they remember. And I am here with what I want to call a conspirator in the watch fantasy of how we're going to move this forward. Lux Butler is tearing it up in Utah. They're bringing affordable luxury watches, and they're introducing people to my favorite thing to collect, which is watches. Trevor, man, thank you, brother, for coming out and being part of what we're doing.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Yeah, it's cool. So, you love watches, and
Yes.
it's a trippy how we met. I saw you. Oh my goodness! I saw you in a picture with my friend Heidi Howell's mom,
Cassie.
Cassie, and I was like, what is this watch thing? And she's like, oh, that's Trevor. Do you want to meet? And I'm like, I want to have lunch with him. I want to talk to him. I want to know there's luxury watches in Utah. I don't have to drive all the way to Vegas. This is fantastic. And I was so happy that you've had the courage to pioneer luxury watches in Utah. Many people know Utah has so much wealth and so much really cool people, but there's not been a huge retail availability of the brands that watch collectors love and collect and trade and talk about and drool over and lust over. It's not here.
Yeah.
But you're bringing it here.
Yeah.
So tell me a little about that, man, because you had set up a booth and
I did, yes.
Yeah. So walk me through. What does that look like? What inspired you to do Lux Butler?
What inspired me to do Lux Butler?
Yeah.
I just, I've always loved watches ever since I was, a kid. Beginning with the Swatch watch back in high school.
Watch check. Hold on. Watch check. What do you got on right now?
Today I'm wearing a Grand Seiko Heritage.
Cool. Show it to the camera, man.
It has they call it a wave bezel on it, where it's supposed to mimic kind of the ocean waves.
We love Grand Seiko, and that's a GMT.
So, yes.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful watch. That's part of your collection. For everybody, the Cassie Oak, matte black on matte black. It's a little flex, or not really, but God tier watch, man. Nico, if you're watching, God tier.
You can't go wrong with matte black.
You can't go wrong with the Casio black on black matted out. Oh, it's gangster. It's gangster.
But yeah, no. So I've always enjoyed watches. One of my first things that I got fairly expensive after graduation was a watch. That's what I asked for from my parents when they asked me what I wanted for graduation.
Oh, right on. What'd they get you?
It was a Festina.
Nice.
Yeah. And so it was, a really cool looking watch, and I liked it, and it was fun. So just something I've always enjoyed. Whenever I would go places, I would walk into stores that carried watches, and I browse through all the different types of watches, because there's just so many different options available that meet
every design cue is available
and personalities and that kind of stuff, from dress watches to sport watches, and everything in between. So,
and they say something about a moment. They capture a moment. How I got into the hobby was I remember I was right around 10 or 11 years old, and my uncle Joseph Gavino had on a Timex dive watch. And this is in the 70s when the bigger, bulkier watches, and this beautiful, and it had a rotating bezel. And I thought, oh man, that's cool. I said, Uncle, that is a really, really cool. And he took it off his wrist and he handed it to me. I didn't know anything. I was 10 or 11 years old. I'd never had anything cool like that. We didn't grow up. We had no money. And to be handed a watch. And I think that's my fascination with dive watches today. I have so many divers in my collection, which I love. Now I'm expanding my collection thanks to you. And we're looking at new ways to express our personalities. But it was that connection in that moment that piece captured time for me.
Yeah.
And then I thought, oh man. And since then, I think I've given away just under 1,000 watches. But that's what we did for years in my company. We would give anyway from 30 to 50 watches. Sometimes once we gave away 100 to different performers in our company. And every time we travel, I'd buy a watch wherever I would go back and forth to Europe. And because I would work so much, so I would have one day to walk around. I would always try to get at least one day to walk around. So if I fly into London for a show or Bologna or somewhere, or, Madrid, or anywhere in the country, I would take one day and try to walk around. And I would walk, and inevitably, when you're a dude,
find a watch shop.
You're going to find a watch shop. You got to find a watch shop. And I would find a watch shop, and I would just, and I kept being drawn to the same type of watch, which was this kind of beautiful tool watch that I liked. I fell in love with bulkier chronos and dive watches. And I just loved them. And that was, I think, I want to say in the 70s, you had maybe Certina, Doxa, a couple of others come out. And we were watching the Jacques Cousteau, and they had those orange-faced watches. And I was like, and I wanted that watch. I still don't have a Doxa in my collection. I don't know why I don't have a Doxa in my collection. But I have to find them. So you have you have this passion for watches, right? But here's the interesting part. By trade, prior to this, you did fine cabinetry.
Finish work.
Like super ultra detailed, high-end, crazy, expensive finish work. And that is cool, man. Like, so your attention for detail has always been there.
Try to be, I try to keep pay attention to that. So
Lux Butler started when?
About 3 years ago.
3 years ago. Cool.
So about 3 years ago was when I started to get into the luxury watches. So before that, it was more just the boutique type watches, your lower end type stuff that, you could get wherever, and just, different things to match different, occasions and that kind of thing. But, I was turned on to the luxury market and saw
when that bites you hard.
It did, and, it's been fun. It's been fun to get to know all the different brands that are out there in that market, and the history behind them. A lot of them have a lot of interesting histories of when they started out, and how they came about, and what makes them better than others. I think that there's certifications, there's different things that in the Swiss watch world or the German watch world that help make it a little bit differentiating in performance. But not a lot of the people who are buying these watches are diving 660. No.
They
might not even take it in the pool.
Yeah. Right. So, or they might go buy a God tier Casio. Right. And then that's what they're going to take in the pool. But what I find fascinating is the parts, the moving parts, how this beautiful configuration of integrated pieces holds time.
Yeah.
Like it's just, it's incredible. And everybody could say, well, what, Peter, you have hundreds of watches. Why in the world do you need more watches? And each watch holds a moment for me.
Yeah.
And if I were, now when I finish projects, clients give me watches that, so, which is even cooler, which makes them even more special, regardless of price. And I think that there is this really interesting thing, because you also get to hand off time. So each, do you have children?
Mm-hmm.
How many?
Altogether, there's a lot.
A lot. Of course, we're in Utah. I only have 4. God bless me. I have 4 kids. But each one of my kids has their own roles set aside that I've created really special letters saying where I acquired it, what it meant to me, what I was thinking in that moment, how old I was. Well, this is maybe before their mom, maybe I acquired this one with their mom, or this was a milestone. This was a gift from a client because I did this job.
Yeah.
Right. And this is why I love it. And I think that if we can pass down the stories,
sure,
and really look at that and say, oh man, like I think that could be cool. So you start Lux Butler. What was the first watch you bought and sold?
First watch I bought was a Hublot Classic Fusion.
Nico,
Fusion.
buddy, Hublot to start his business. What's going on?
And it was,
you bought a big
bang. It wasn't a big bang, so it was a Classic Fusion Aero Fusion, so it was open work. So it had like the skeleton die with the open back, and beautiful watch, white band, titanium, and
and you bought that? Did you buy that for a customer specifically?
No,
or it was something you thought you'd buy it, you found it, you got a decent deal on it, and you're gonna flip it.
Exactly. Yeah, it was one that I was like, hey, let's start with this one and see where this adventure goes. And
oh man, if Nico's watching, Nick, I'm going to be in Ireland this year, and I'm going to go into, his store. We should go together.
Yeah.
Say, how could you have a business and start off selling Hublot? But it's a cool watch. I know many of my friends wear them. Luxury brand.
Yeah.
Versus a pedigree watch.
Yeah.
So you start off with this luxury brand, which is totally cool. You flip it. How did you feel when you first bought it? Did you tighten up like, oh man, I just made this big investment?
Yeah,
but what if nobody wants this?
It was a huge investment.
Yeah.
I obviously never had spent that much on a timepiece before. So it was, jump in both feet and let's see what happens. So.
Oh man, so generally you drown. Didn't anybody tell you when you don't know how to swim and you jump in water that has bottomless, you drown? But I love it. So then you started trading, but now I think that you're trading more. What I'm going to say, the contemporary collection, tried, tested, true timepieces, but you're making those collections affordable. You're selling collections, 2 watch collections, 3 watch collections, generally with a emphasis on one of the bigger, either a Rolex is in there, an Omega, a tag, so you're putting in the right watches in these, what I call these beautiful kits. Tell me, I know that there's something in one of those pockets. What's in one of those pockets?
So I brought along with me just probably the most well-known, most recognized watch in the watch industry is a simple Rolex black dial Submariner.
Gorgeous.
So it's,
Man.
just please. So
absolutely timeless. This is an absolutely timeless watch. Look at this.
When most people are talking, Rolexes,
this is what they're talking.
A lot of the time, that's probably the most.
Oyster band, beautiful. Look at this. Look at how tight this band is. This band is absolutely perfect. Gorgeous. It's, been polished, refinished, serviced. This is a brand new looking timepiece.
It's actually a 1999 model,
and you never know.
Still looks,
it's contemporary.
Like
it's gorgeous. Today. Yep. One-way bezel. You can hear that click, and you just feel it. It's tight and beautiful and sexy and gorgeous. Oh, this is going to make someone happy. I love this watch. I absolutely, and I think if you're going to, I personally love, I think I shared this with you before we started filming.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely love the fact that it has no date.
Yeah.
There's no distraction.
Less stuff on the dial. Less clutter.
I like the date. I like the date, but I like in this version, no date.
Mm-hmm.
It's perfect. It's absolutely gorgeous.
The one with the date, it just helps people that can't remember what date it is. Right. What date
so you're talking so this is polished, serviced, redone, perfect condition, Rolex sub. And you told me the price. I'm not even going to repeat it, but I am going to repeat it. $7,400 for to be part of the Rolex family. Unheard of. In a beautiful, beautiful watch. Like that is something that you will have, pass it on generations.
For
be
sure.
proud. 7,400. How do you go wrong?
Yeah, this is something that could be handed down to your children.
Oh, 100%. That should never leave your collection, by the way. This wouldn't be a place to start and trade out of. You should always keep this one and then just do what's necessary to get the next one. Now, I do know that we're starting to put these into bundles with some other, maybe this and a Speedmaster and a Monaco or something like that. And you're doing these beautiful, very cool 3-watch collections for like right around 11.5.
Yeah, I just thought it'd be fun to, put together, something so you've got for different occasions, and you can just kind of have a go-to collection.
Mm-hmm.
Where, you've got daily, and then maybe a little bit more sporty of a watch if you're, if you do outdoor
and you can
activities.
Switch.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you can
and then
switch.
A dressy watch, for those, fancy
you're going to church and you got to put on a tie. I think it's really, really cool. I love how you've approached this because, like I saw you have an abundance of watches for sale. And I saw this beautiful F1 Oris carbon fiber, just a very cool chrono, retro style, beautiful, elegant piece of F1 machinery on real carbon fiber. It's a complete carbon fiber case, polished. It's beautiful. Like what?
And that's a nice one because it's a small price point. You're under 2,000 on a price point for that.
You're under 2,000.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So,
and that's the cool thing about this hobby. For not a lot of money, you can start to get pieces that have so much meaning and so much provenance, and they're full-on works of art.
Mm-hmm.
Like that Oris is gorgeous.
Yeah,
it's really cool.
It's a fun one.
Yeah, it's really, really cool. And then, of course, like you have on the Grand Seiko, on its own oyster. It just, I don't think anything gets better than Grand Seiko right now for dollar value and finish. And
they're a good one, a good price point for below the Rolex. If you're looking for something under that,
and acquirable. They hold their value. The movements are fantastic. But the finish is just, I mean, the finish of a Grand Seiko is, the Japanese are doing it right.
Yeah.
Let's be clear. They're not left in the dust. So we have this really cool thing coming out. Can I talk about it real quick?
Yes, please do. Please do.
So we're going to be doing a podcast dedicated to watch enthusiasts, where we'll be bringing in entrepreneurs and business people and watch enthusiasts and collectors. And we'll be featuring one or two collectors on each show, where we're just going to break down our collection. We're going to see theirs. We're going to talk about their particular watches, their 3 or 4 favorite watches, where they found them, how they found them. And then we'll introduce a couple of our watches in our latest collection. And we'll be launching that once a week. I'm super excited. It's going to be amazing. And because who doesn't love talking about watches?
Yeah.
Like it's going to be really, really cool. I mean, I brought in a bunch of watches I thought we were going to be talking more about. I'm going to save them for the first show. So this way I have a little something to flex here and there. But I think truthfully, what we want to focus on are acquirable watches. This should be a grail watch for some, but acquirable luxury is the essence of what Trevor's bringing to the marketplace. This isn't where we're going to bring out $400,000 Richard Meals. We might have a client or a collector or a friend who wants to show off, and we have some friends with some stupid collections.
And by all means, if you want one of those, I'm happy to source it for you.
Yeah, of course. But I think that the essence of what we really want to do is get people into that luxury brand without completely breaking their bench. These are watches that you can wear. No one's going to cut your arm off for them. And you can keep adding to your collection.
Exactly.
You know, I have a large collection. I think you have a large collection now. You know, it's one of those things where you just want to, you know, bring out these really cool things. So you're going to see watches. You're going to see there's going to be times. I know you also sell art. I collect original art. So I'm hoping that we'll bring in some art pieces, and we'll bring in some pens at some point, or some rare books. Or we're going to be talking about things that are collectible, with the emphasis on talking watches, and then some other cool stuff as well that will be available on Trevor's website. So I'm really excited, brother.
Yeah, so am I.
I mean, it's just cool stuff. And you've secured the URL for luxbutler.com.
I have, yes.
So yeah, you guys can go to luxbutler.com, and you'll find some of his initial offerings in collections available. And this is going to blow your mind, man.
Instagram at Lux Butler.
Instagram at Lux
Butler. Butler. Yeah.
Luxe. Make sure you don't forget the E.
Yeah.
And if you know anybody, I want to just hold this up one more time. I mean, I know this is part of it now. I know, right? I know that this is part of. Can I have that? Can you throw me that, Megan?
Polished cloth.
Yeah, the polished cloth. And be careful, that gold watch is in there. Thank you. I just can't even tell you what an incredible deal this is. Like if you want to give a Christmas gift right now, like we just have to, look at this. This is just incredible. Look at that. Look at that. That's just beautiful. It's just beautiful. It makes, really, brand new one of these is going to cost you what? 10, 12?
Yeah, I think
if
that's
you could
what
even get it, if your AD would even give it to you.
Yeah.
And
when they
you can have this one completely refinished Rolex 7400. It's just available right now. Just beautiful. Beautiful, man. It's gorgeous.
Go and touch.
I know. Right. So, man, we're going to be at Talking Watches. This is Peter Anthony. This is my boy, Trevor. Lux Butler, Lux with an E, Luxe, butler.com. Follow us on Instagram. We are excited to bring to you stuff that you haven't seen, stuff that you've seen and you've always wanted.
Exactly.
It's going to become available to you now.
We're excited.
We're excited. Thank you so much, guys. And we'll see you soon.